What if the very moments when life feels heavy, uncertain, or painfully unclear are not proof that you're stuck, but proof that you are standing at the edge of a quantum threshold? What if the confusion you feel is not a failure of clarity, but the sound of an old reality collapsing under its own weight, making space for something much greater, something more aligned with the frequency you've been secretly calling in? Breathe into that possibility, because right now, as you listen, your mind might be telling you that you're lost, behind, or unraveling. But what if I told you that those thoughts are not symptoms of collapse, they are ripples of creation? You are not falling apart. You are bending reality. And it begins with one subtle shift: the way you see yourself in the dance of life. For centuries, humans have believed that life happens to them, that the storms of chaos, the waves of uncertainty, the sudden heartbreaks or losses are accidents, or punishment, or evidence that destiny is cruel. But you, right here, right now, are being invited into a higher truth. You are not a victim of the storm. You are the storm shifting form. When the old structures crumble, it is not the end. It is the prelude to quantum rearrangement. Just like a caterpillar dissolves inside the cocoon, completely disintegrating into a shapeless soup before reconfiguring into the butterfly, you too are dissolving the limitations of the old self. It may feel messy. It may feel endless. But it is the very evidence that something luminous is emerging. What if the chaos you feel is sacred? What if your uncertainty is a portal, not a prison? Lean in, because the way you hold this moment will determine the frequency you step into next. Reality is not fixed. Reality is fluid, bending to the vibration of your inner state. And when you stop resisting the discomfort, when you stop labeling yourself as broken, you'll begin to notice that reality itself starts to bend with you. This is not about escape. It's about remembering. Remembering that you are both the observer and the observed, the witness and the dance, the stillness and the storm. Every emotion, every thought, every whisper of doubt, these are not mistakes. They are signals. They are invitations to rise, to expand, to embody the frequency that bends reality itself. So let me ask you again, what if the hardest parts of your journey are not setbacks, but sacred signs that your reality is rearranging at the quantum level? What if this very moment is proof that your next leap is closer than you think? What you are moving through right now has a name. It is not failure. It is not regression. It is not being lost. It is the in-between. Some call it the void. Some call it the liminal space. Others call it the sacred pause between chapters. But whatever word resonates with you most, know this: it is not emptiness. It is gestation. Think of it as the moment just before dawn. The sky is still dark, the world still cloaked in shadow. If you only judged the scene by what your eyes could see, you might believe the light will never return. But within the unseen, the sun is already rising. Its rays are already on their way. The darkness is not proof of absence. It is proof of imminence. This is where you are, between what has dissolved and what has not yet formed, between the life that no longer fits and the life that is still weaving itself into coherence. And I want you to breathe into this knowing. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are simply in the in-between. It feels like an exile sometimes, doesn't it? A sense of standing outside of your own skin, outside of belonging, outside of momentum. The things that once anchored you no longer feel solid, and yet the new ground has not yet revealed itself. It is easy to mistake this as wrong, but what if it is the most sacred part of the journey? Because the in-between is not a void of nothingness. It is an energetic chrysalis. Just as the caterpillar must completely dissolve before the butterfly can take form, you too are dissolving old identities, old timelines, old ways of seeing yourself. This space feels unstable because reality itself is pliable here. And that pliability is not danger, it is potential. Can you see how powerful this is? The in-between is not where you lose yourself. It is where you meet your truest self, uncloaked by old structures, unbound by outdated patterns. So when you name this space, don't call it confusion, don't call it regression, call it what it really is: the sacred threshold. Feel how even the language shifts the energy in your body. Instead of saying, "I am lost," try saying, "I am in the threshold." Instead of, "I don't know who I am anymore," try, "I am dissolving into who I'm becoming." Words are frequencies. And the names you give to your experiences tune the vibration of your reality. So let's name this properly. You are in the void, the in-between, the quantum womb where reality itself reshapes in response to your frequency. And here's the truth. No one lingers here forever. The in-between is temporary, just as night gives way to dawn, just as the tide always turns. But while you are here, the invitation is to stop resisting and start attuning, to stop labeling this as punishment and begin recognizing it as preparation. Because you are not waiting, you are gestating. You are not abandoned, you are being recoded. And the more you can name this space with reverence instead of fear, the more quickly your frequency aligns with what is emerging. You are in the sacred in-between. And in this space, everything is possible. In quantum physics, there is a phenomenon known as superposition. At the tiniest levels of reality, particles are not confined to being in one fixed state. Instead, they exist in many possible states at once until an observer interacts with them. Only then do they collapse into one specific outcome. Superposition means that a particle is not here or there. It is both. Not this or that, but all potentials simultaneously. Now, let me offer you a mirror. This is what the in-between feels like in your life. You are not just one identity anymore. You are not just the old you, tied to the patterns and choices that once defined you. But you are also not yet fully the new you, the self aligned with your next frequency. You are both. You are many. You are suspended in superposition. And this is why it feels unstable. Because your consciousness is holding multiple timelines open at once. You are tasting the residue of who you have been, while also brushing against the whispers of who you are becoming. And like a particle in superposition, your reality has not yet collapsed into a single visible form. Doesn't that change how you see your discomfort? Instead of saying, "I don't know who I am," you can begin to see that you are many things at once. You are the ending and the beginning. You are the dissolution and the emergence. You are the before and the after, coexisting in one body, one breath, one present moment. And just like in quantum physics, the moment of collapse doesn't happen randomly. It happens when there is an observer. In your life, that observer is you. Your attention is the quantum measurement. The frequency of your awareness is what guides reality into coherence. When you linger in fear, the collapse takes the shape of limitation. When you linger in expansion, the collapse takes the shape of possibility. You are not a passive bystander in this. You are the directing force. So when you feel pulled between identities, between choices, between timelines, remember this: you are not broken. You are in superposition. This perspective changes everything. Instead of fearing the uncertainty, you can lean into it. You can recognize it as a quantum gift, because in superposition, all outcomes are still available. The doorway to your highest reality is wide open. Imagine a vast library filled with infinite books. Each book represents a different version of your life. One where you settled, one where you soared, one where you loved deeply, one where you held back. Superposition is the moment when you are standing in the library, surrounded by infinite shelves, before you reach out to choose the book you will live inside. This in-between is not a punishment. It is your greatest point of creative freedom. And here's the empowering truth. You do not have to rush the choice. You do not have to force the collapse. Your only task is to hold your awareness with reverence, to notice the frequencies you are feeding with your thoughts, your breath, your emotions, because your reality will not collapse according to fear. It will collapse according to focus. So let's return to you. Right now, if your life feels fragmented, if your identity feels blurry, if your path feels suspended, what if that is because you are holding multiple quantum possibilities alive within you? What if this confusion is the fertile tension of infinite outcomes, waiting for your frequency to guide the collapse? That is superposition. And it is not weakness, it is power. The tension you feel right now, this unease, this restlessness, this pressure building beneath the surface, is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something is working. You are not unraveling, you are recalibrating. Pause with that truth for a moment. Let it breathe in you. So often, when discomfort arises, the mind rushes to judgment. I must have made a mistake. I must not be ready. I must have lost my way. But what if discomfort is not the enemy of alignment? What if it is the very proof that alignment is approaching? Think of the seed buried beneath the soil. If the seed could think, it might feel the pressure of the earth as suffocating. It might mistake the cracking of its shell as destruction. But from the outside, we can see clearly. The pressure and the cracking are not the end. They are the exact signals that life is beginning. The same is true for you. The heaviness pressing against you is the earth preparing you to sprout. The cracking within you is the shell of your old identity breaking open so that something alive, luminous, and unstoppable can emerge. Discomfort is not regression. It is expansion in disguise. And the reason it feels overwhelming is because your nervous system is stretching beyond the familiar. The old identity, though limiting, was predictable. It was safe in its smallness. To step beyond it requires your entire being to reorganize, to stretch beyond old comfort zones into a frequency that has never been embodied by you before. This stretching feels like breaking, but it is not. It is birthing. You are not falling apart. You are falling into place. Every wave of restlessness, every flicker of doubt, every ache of not enough, these are not walls stopping you. They are doorways opening. They are the friction that sparks transformation. Say it with me. My discomfort is my signal of growth. Notice how the energy shifts when you claim that. The mind no longer sees the unease as something to fight against. Instead, it recognizes it as a sacred compass, pointing you toward expansion. In truth, you could not grow without it. Without the discomfort, you would remain in the same cycle, circling the same ground. Discomfort is the evidence that your frequency is colliding with a new dimension of reality, and the collision is creating sparks. Those sparks are the light of your awakening. So the next time you feel the tightness in your chest, the heaviness in your thoughts, the resistance in your body, pause, breathe, whisper to yourself, this is growth. This is the evidence that I am shifting. This is not my end. This is my beginning. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. You are not being diminished. You are being expanded. Discomfort is the language of transformation. And you, right now, are fluent in it. So now that you see your discomfort as a signal of growth, the next question arises, how do you move through it? The mind often wants a battle plan, a step-by-step strategy to fix what feels wrong. But remember, you are not broken. There is nothing to fix. There is only something to soften into. So instead of strategies, I invite you into gentle practices. Not forceful, but fluid. Not mechanical, but musical. Because the frequency of your presence is more powerful than any checklist. Begin with the breath. Breathe slowly, as if each inhale is a reminder that life itself is choosing you. Breathe as if the universe is whispering with every exhale, you are safe to expand. When you place your awareness on the breath, you anchor yourself in the only place where reality bends, the now. Then, attune. Attunement is the art of listening with your whole body. Notice the subtle sensations that arise in you. The tightness in your chest, the flutter in your stomach, the tingling in your palms. Instead of rushing to label them as bad, imagine they are frequencies of new life tuning your nervous system. You are an instrument being restrung for a higher song. Next, harmonize. How do you harmonize? By bringing small actions into alignment with your inner state. If your body asks for rest, rest. If your soul yearns for stillness, create a pocket of quiet. If your heart longs for beauty, step outside, gaze at the sky. Let the sunlight remind you that expansion is everywhere. And finally, allow. Allow the process to unfold without rushing. Allow the discomfort to move through without suppressing. Allow yourself to trust that the intelligence guiding this shift is greater than your mind. When you allow, you surrender the illusion of control and step into the flow of creation. You don't have to force your reality to collapse into the next version of you. You only need to breathe, attune, harmonize, and allow. Each of these soft practices keeps your frequency open, receptive, and aligned with the transformation already underway. Think of it like tuning into a radio station. If you twist the dial too aggressively, you only create static. But when you move with care, with patience, with subtle adjustments, the station becomes clear. In the same way, your life is becoming clearer as you tune, gently, to the signal of your next frequency. So the guidance is simple, but profound. Breathe, attune, harmonize, allow, Let these 4 words be your compass in the in-between. Whisper them like a mantra when the discomfort rises. Let them soften the edges of your resistance. Because the truth is, your reality does not bend to force, it bends to frequency. And your frequency is tuned not by struggle, but by softness. There is another principle in quantum physics that holds a mirror to your transformation. It is called decoherence. In the quantum world, particles exist in superposition many states at once. But the moment they interact with their environment, the moment they come into contact with outside influence, the fragile dance of infinite possibilities collapses into one visible outcome. This process of settling into a singular state is what physicists call decoherence. Now, let's translate this into the language of your life. When you are in the in-between, when your identity is dissolving and reforming, you are in superposition. You are holding multiple possibilities alive within you. But at some point, those possibilities must decohere. They must collapse into a lived reality. And the deciding factor is your frequency. Every thought, every feeling, every small choice is like the environment pressing against your quantum field. If your mind stays glued to fear, the collapse will settle into an outcome that reflects contraction. If your awareness rests in trust, in openness, in alignment, the collapse will settle into expansion. This is why your inner state matters more than any external condition. Reality doesn't shift because you force it to. Reality shifts because you hold a frequency long enough for the quantum field around you to organize into coherence with it. Imagine water vapor condensing into a droplet. For a while, it's invisible mist, no clear shape, no tangible form. But when enough particles align, the droplet appears, whole and complete. That is decoherence. And it's happening to your life right now. You are not waiting for life to get back on track. Life is condensing around you, forming a new droplet, a new coherence, a new version of you that reflects your chosen frequency. And here's the gift. You don't have to control the collapse. You don't have to micromanage how the droplet forms. All you need to do is nurture your frequency, hold your vibration steady, and trust that decoherence will do the rest. This is where faith meets physics. Because just as surely as particles cannot float in superposition forever, you will not float in the in-between forever. The collapse is inevitable. The only question is, which frequency will you allow to solidify into form? This is why the discomfort you feel is sacred. It is the sensation of your reality reorganizing. It is the trembling of the droplet before it becomes whole. It is the pulse of your frequency, imprinting itself into the quantum field. Decoherence reminds you, nothing is random. Every outcome reflects a vibration. Every reality is a mirror. And you, right now, are shaping which mirror becomes visible. So instead of fearing the collapse, you can bless it. You can see it as the universe weaving your frequency into form. You can relax into the knowing that the outcome is not separate from you. It is born of you. You are not waiting for your life to change. You are the change decohering into life. There's a moment in every transformation where you might swear you're going backward. Old habits resurface. Old doubts whisper louder. Old patterns you thought you'd already healed suddenly reappear like ghosts in the night. And the mind panics. Why am I here again? Haven't I already passed this test? Why does it feel like I'm regressing? But what if what feels like regression is not regression at all, but integration? Think of it this way. When you spiral upward, you sometimes pass through the same terrain but from a higher vantage point. The scenery looks familiar, the emotions feel recycled, the triggers seem the same, but you are not the same. You are meeting them with more awareness, more capacity, more wisdom than before. What you're experiencing is not a collapse into the old. It is a rehearsal for the new. Just as a dancer practices the same movement again and again, not because they failed the first time, but because each repetition strengthens the muscle. You too are strengthening the muscle of your new frequency. Every time an old pattern surfaces, you are being given an opportunity not to shame yourself, not to shrink back, but to embody the new choice with more depth than ever before. Regression is only the story the ego tells. Progress is the truth the soul whispers. The cocoon looks like confinement to the caterpillar, but in truth, it is the alchemical container where wings are forming. Similarly, when you feel trapped in old sensations, old emotions, old doubts, pause and remember. This is not proof of collapse. This is the friction of expansion. It is the universe saying, here is another chance to choose. Here is another chance to embody your frequency. Even the pause, the stillness, the stuckness is not wasted. In fact, it is in those very pauses that your nervous system is catching up to your soul. Your biology is recalibrating. Your cells are rearranging. Your subconscious is rewiring. Progress doesn't always feel like momentum. Sometimes it feels like stillness. Sometimes it feels like mess. Sometimes it feels like doubt. But beneath the surface, a quantum alignment is locking into place. So the next time you feel you've slipped back, try reframing it with these words. I am not going backward. I am spiraling upward. I am not repeating. I am integrating. This reframe is powerful because it removes shame from the process. And when you remove shame, you remove resistance. And when resistance dissolves, your frequency rises effortlessly. You are not undone by old patterns. You are strengthened by meeting them with new awareness. You are not regressing. You are rehearsing. And with every rehearsal, you become more fluent in the vibration of your next reality. When the pressure builds, the temptation is strong to do more, to push, to fix, to hustle your way out of discomfort. The mind whispers, if I just work harder, if I just solve this faster, I'll feel safe again. But that impulse to force is exactly what pulls you out of alignment. Because reality does not bend under pressure. It bends under presence. So here is the invitation. Release the urge to fix yourself. You are not broken. Release the urge to hustle your way out of the void. The void is not a prison, it is a womb. Release the urge to micromanage your unfolding. You cannot rush a seed into sprouting, no matter how much you tug at the soil. Instead, choose stillness. Stillness is not stagnation. Stillness is the fertile pause where your frequency has room to rearrange. It is in stillness that the nervous system resets, the mind softens, and the soul whispers its guidance. Choose presence. Presence is where your power island, not in the memories of what has collapsed, not in the worries of what is yet to come, but in the now. The now is the only moment where you can breathe, feel, witness, and embody the vibration that will shape your collapse into coherence. Choose alignment. Alignment is not about efforting your way into perfection. It is about noticing the subtle yes in your body and honoring it. It is about recognizing when something feels heavy, forced, draining, and gently stepping away. It is about leaning toward what feels light, nourishing, alive. So instead of forcing, practice allowing. Instead of hustling, practice harmonizing. Instead of fixing, practice witnessing. You do not need to manufacture your transformation. You only need to create the conditions where it can bloom. Picture a river. If you thrash against the current, you exhaust yourself and go nowhere. But if you lean back, breathe, and allow yourself to be carried, the river does the work for you. That is alignment. And here's the paradox. The less you push, the faster you move. The more you soften, the quicker reality bends. The more you surrender, the sooner the new frequency takes shape. So, beloved listener, let yourself exhale. Let yourself unclench the fists of control. Let yourself remember, your frequency, not your force, is what creates stillness, presence, alignment. These are not passive states. They are the most active form of creation because they place you in harmony with the intelligence that is already guiding your transformation. And now, let's lift, because here's the truth. You are not unraveling. You are gathering momentum. Every wave of discomfort, every pause of stillness, every trembling of uncertainty, these are not signs that you're falling apart. They are signs that the old scaffolding is being dismantled so the new structure can rise. You are not collapsing. You are coiling, like the archer's bow being pulled back before release. Like the wave drawing inward before it crests into power, you are building the energy required for your leap. Feel that in your body for a moment. The very tightness, the very tension, the very stretching that feels unbearable is actually the compression of momentum. It is life winding you up, so that when the release comes, you soar farther than you ever could have on your own. You are not at the end. You are at the threshold. And thresholds are not weak places. They are powerful. They are liminal. They are the doorway between what was and what will be. And standing at that doorway, you hold all the energy of both worlds inside you. No wonder it feels intense. But that intensity is the fuel of your awakening. Look back at your journey. See how every so-called ending was really a beginning. Notice how every loss carried within it the seed of something greater. Remember how many times you thought you couldn't go on, and yet you did. You always did. This moment is no different. If you could see yourself from the eyes of your higher self, you would marvel at the light already pouring through you. You would see the chords of the old timeline breaking apart, the frequencies of your new reality weaving themselves around you like a luminous cloak. You would see how close you are to the leap you've been preparing for. This is not the death of your story. This is the crescendo. And like every great symphony, the music swells before the breakthrough. The tension builds before the release. The silence deepens before the eruption of sound. That is where you are. At the swelling, at the edge, at the brink of expansion so profound it will make sense of every tear, every pause, every doubt. Say this with me. I am not unraveling. I am gathering momentum. I am not lost. I am arriving. I am not collapsing. I am expanding. Am. Feel how these words ignite something inside you. Feel the resonance in your chest, the truth vibrating through your body. These are not just affirmations. They are declarations of frequency. And the moment you declare them, reality begins bending around them. Because you, beloved, are not a victim of circumstance. You are the frequency that shapes circumstance. And right now, you are standing at the most powerful point of creation, the edge of the old, the threshold of the new. Your leap is not coming someday. It is already building in this very moment. And when it comes, it will not be a small step. It will be a quantum shift. You are not unraveling. You are gathering momentum. And your leap is closer than you think. Take a deep breath with me now. Inhale fully. Exhale completely. Feel this truth anchoring into your body. You've already stepped into the new frequency. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. The very fact that you are here, listening, breathing, witnessing yourself through this passage, means the shift has already occurred. The old self has already dissolved. The new self is already alive in you. The evidence may not yet be fully visible, but the frequency is undeniable, and frequency always precedes form. So trust what is already unfolding. Trust the quiet hum beneath your thoughts. Trust the pull in your heart that says, something greater is here, and it is me. You've already crossed the threshold. You've already said yes to the expansion. You've already stepped into the reality where your life bends to your vibration. Let this affirmation seal itself within you. I am the frequency that shapes my reality. I have already shifted. Whisper it softly. Speak it firmly. Feel it resonate in your chest, like a bell ringing through your entire field. This is not a wish. It is a remembrance. And from here, the path is simple. Breathe when it feels heavy. Soften when it feels tense. Allow when it feels uncertain. And watch as reality bends not by your force, but by your frequency. If you desire to go deeper, to keep attuning to these truths, there are always doorways open for you. You can step into the next video, where we continue this journey into the mysteries of quantum awakening. Or you can receive the free guide I've created, a written map to help you stabilize in this new frequency, so you can carry it with you into daily life. No pressure, no rush, just an invitation, if your soul feels the yes. Because you don't need more noise. You need resonance. You don't need more effort. You need alignment. And that is what I am here to walk with you through. Remember this. You are not unraveling. You are arriving. You are not collapsing. You are expanding. You are not waiting. You are already here. You've stepped into the frequency. And from here, everything bends to meet you.